You ever craved something you knew deep down wasn't good for you? You wanted it so bad, you thought about it so much, it consumed you? How did that feel? I used to drink every day, and I didn't like myself for it. I wasn't the husband I wanted to be, and I wasn't the person I thought I could be. I craved alcohol constantly, and there was nothing I could do about it. I tried for years. I could stop for weeks or months at a time, but it took all the willpower I had because the craving was strong and sometimes excruciating. It would eventually just wear me down, and I'd start again. There's a mindfulness tenet that states, everything arises, everything persists, and everything passes. And when you watch craving without being gripped by it, it loses power and you find freedom. When I learned this, I devised a plan to break the cycle I had been spinning in. I started to watch my craving for alcohol like a thief who's planning to rob a house. I cased my mind and scoped out all the hiding places. I'd watch the craving build strength. I'd watch it overpower me. I'd watch myself drink. I'd recover, and then I would do it all over again, relentlessly, every day. One day stands out a little more than the rest, and as I pluck that scene from the mosaic in my mind, I see myself. I'm sitting in my truck, hiding around the corner from the liquor store. My eyes are closed. I'm concentrating on my breath, and I'm watching the craving arise and intensify. And there's a voice. What are you doing? We're here. Get out of the car and go inside. Get your vodka, like you always do. The voice is trying to grip me. I sit there instead. The craving increases. Its volume goes up. Fine, I'll do it myself. Now the voice is screaming at me. It's being really persistent. It's making my ears ring, and this time with a wrenching sensation deep inside my skull to my gut. It's like a tourniquet. It's tightening my throat. It's twisting my heart, squeezing off my breath, and punching me in the stomach. Now, from the outside, it probably just looked like a guy sitting in his truck with his eyes closed, maybe taking a nap. But on the inside, it felt like a demon trying to claw and punch its way out of my pores. This storm of torment persisted for what seemed like forever. It was only a moment. And in that moment, I was standing in the middle of a hurricane of thoughts. The wind was blowing 1,000 miles an hour. It was raining sideways. Then all of a sudden, there was a break. The wind calmed to a warm breeze. The rain stopped. The clouds parted, and the sun came beaming through, its warmth absorbing directly into my chest and into my bones, and there was space. My throat relaxed. My heart untwisted. I could breathe. My stomach was at ease. I became light. The craving had passed. I opened my eyes, I started my truck, and I drove away. And I stayed sober that day. It was such a relief. I wanted more of it. So I practiced this way for months until I got really skillful at it. Some days I'd win, some days I'd lose. But one day, it all fell away. It was just over 19 months ago today. So it seems too simple. Getting closer to an experience can bring about freedom, an ability to respond instead of react. It appeared to be an impenetrable wall, but I moved into it and through it, and I came out the other side. And now, all that craving for alcohol is gone. All the remnants are gone. And I know it's because I spend time each day watching sensations, feelings, moods, experiences, and cravings. I watch them arise, persist, and pass. Sometimes they arise at different speeds with different intensities, and they persist for different lengths of time, but they always pass. And when they do, there's peace. I leave you with this. When you find yourself gripped by craving and you just want it to end, and you're wondering how long it's gonna last, take a moment, take a breath, remind yourself, this will arise, this will persist, this too shall pass. Zoom Master.
It was with resignation I received a letter from the Department of Motor Vehicles requesting my presence at my local DMV to update my personal information and to take my photo. I hate having my picture taken. Even with faced with a camera with the best photographer, when I see a camera, I either do the deer in the headlights look or my smile gets way too wide and cheesy. I am a rule follower, and so on a gloomy March morning, I showed up at my local DMV. The first thing you have to do when you arrive is take a number. Over in the corner, there was a digital black box, cheerfully proclaiming, now serving, number 35. My number was 84. So I settled myself down for a long wait. The good news is the DMV is a great place to people watch. Across from me, there was a young man, obviously there for his driver's test. You could tell by the look on his face that this was better than every Christmas, every birthday, every visit for the Tooth Fairy, because today he was gaining his independence. Booyah! His head was filled with visions of driving his friends to the mall, driving through the drive-thru at Starbucks, and convincing his mother he was mature enough to drive himself to school. Sitting next to this beaming bundle of joy was the parental unit. He had already called his insurance company, and he knew what insuring a teenage driver was going to do to his rates. His own head was filled with nightmares of the interminable arguments over borrowing the family car, finding his pristine vehicle filled with empty Starbucks cups, and the biggest horror of them all, getting into the car and discovering that there was nothing but fumes in his gas tank. The boy's number was called, and he surged to his feet, and he sprightly sprinted off to his destiny. His father plodded along afterwards. I decided with the distraction gone, it was time for me to complete my forms. In the beginning, they were really easy. my name, my address, my phone number, my birth date. Then they began to get a little bit harder. Eye color, brown, hair color. Do they mean my real hair color? I haven't seen my real hair color since I was 16 and discovered Miss Clairol at the drugstore. There are years when I'm a brunette. Some seasons I like to check out and see if blondes really do have more fun. And it is not unusual in the fall when the leaves turn red, so does my hair. As I pondered my answer, this beautiful young woman walked by. Her hair was sapphire blue, and she had swabs of emerald green and amber and turquoise, and she had gilded teensy-weensy little strands of her hair. Can you list peacock as a hair color on your driver's license? At this point, I decided that there were bigger questions to answer, and I just went with blonde. Moving on to my form, height. Well, I am not as tall as I used to be. Weight. Weight? Weight? Why do I have to share personal information about my life in order to drive a car? I weigh myself every single morning. There are days where I'm really happy with the number on the scale. There are days where I've had a bowl of ice cream the night before and not so much. I watch a lot of those cop shows on TV, the live ones, and anytime they have ever pulled somebody over, regardless of the reason, I have never seen a policeman say, "Really, ma'am, you want me to believe this is how much you weigh?" And as I dithered over my answer, it dawned on me, it actually doesn't say, "How much do you weigh?" It says, "Weight." Well, that opens the door for a lot of personal interpretation. In the end, I put a number down that I would like to weigh, that I once weighed when I was 20. After a very, very long wait, I was finally called up. I handed my papers in. There were no questions over the veracity of any of my answers. They simply took my money and sent me to the vision lady. I squeaked by that test, and then I queued in line to have my picture taken. I wondered if I were really nice and friendly to the cameraman, if he would take a better picture. No, I truly believe he had recently been promoted from taking mugshots at the county jail, and he was impervious to my charm. All he did was point his finger at the wall. Time to pose. No. And as I stood there posing, looking at the camera, it jammed. And as he tinkered with it and tried to fix it, I began to get involved. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what my driver's license photo will look like for the next 8 years, fellow Toastmasters.
Have you ever made a promise to someone? Mr. Contest here, fellow Toastmaster and guest. January 4th, 2014. My wife and I were flying back to US from India. I was sitting in the passenger seat, just grabbed a magazine that they provided on the airplane. One of the articles said, by 2018, online education industry will be worth $175 billion? I know a few things. I can teach people online. I can at least make $1 million, if not billion. My wife was sitting next to me, watching a movie with headset on. I pulled her headset off and said, honey, today, I promise you, by 2018, we will be millionaires. To which she said, That's awesome, Nikhil. Now let me watch my movie. Later we came home, but I was really serious about doing this. The simplest way for me to teach online is to start making videos and post them on YouTube. After making 3 videos, I figured out I have to decide the topic, make a script for the video, record a video, edit the video, and then post it on YouTube. It's a lot of work. I went to my wife and said, honey, can I take my promise back? 2014, wasted. 2015, new year, new resolutions, but no promises. Let's get back to work. After making 3 more videos, I get a call from my friend. Hey dude, do you guys want to go to club this Friday? Club? No, it's time to get back to work. Okay, let's go. Next week, another friend calls and the fun never stopped. 2015, wasted. 2016, new year, new resolutions, but no promises. Enough fun. Let's get back to work. After making 4 more videos, now I have 100,000 subscribers on my channel. Oh, I mean 100 subscribers. And no more than 15 views per video. And out of those 15 views, I watched it 10 times. No one is watching my videos. Am I good enough? Started doubting myself. Hence, wasted another year. 2017, new year, new resolutions, but no promises. I kept finding reasons why I shouldn't make more videos. Hence, 2017, wasted. 2018, well, I almost forgot about this online teaching thing. But the prediction that they made in 2014 turned out to be true in 2018. Yes, the online education industry was worth $175 billion, and I did not even make $75. Mid 2018, friend recommended a book to me called Die Empty by Todd Henry. Author shared a story. One of the director asked his audience, where is the richest land in the world? Some said diamond mines in Africa. Some said oil-rich Gulf state. Well, the director answered, the richest land in the world is at the cemetery, where millions of people have departed. They have carried many valuable ideas that did not even come to light and benefited others. All those ideas are at the cemetery, and they are all buried. He said, do not go to the grave carrying you the best that you have. Always choose to die empty. If you have an idea, perform it. If you have a goal, achieve it. If you have a knowledge, give it away. That was it. That finally rang a bell for me. September 2018 until today, I did not miss a single week to post a video on my YouTube channel. I launched my own online course too. Finally, $1 million. It's still a dream. But the real question is not how much you will make or how much I'll make. The real question is not how much time I have wasted throughout these years. The real question is, starting today, how much are we willing to share with the world what's here and what's here before it's too late? If it's your last day in this world tomorrow, would you want to take your ideas with you there? These ideas don't belong here. They all need to be spread out into the world so we all die empty. We don't have to have the ideas like Steve Jobs, Mother Teresa, Gandhi, or any famous personality. Even our little idea is significant enough to share with the world. I promise my wife today, I promise you today, I choose to die empty. Will you? Mr. Contest Chair.
We're all broken. That's how the light gets in. That small phrase, attributed to Leonard Cohen and Ernest Hemingway, has bothered me for a very long time, and I never knew why. It is beautiful. It is profound, but it's also somehow dishonest. I do believe in part of it. We're all broken. We've all found ourselves at rock bottom, at a place we thought we could never get out. And truth be told, we were probably put there by someone who was also broken. Allow me to tell you the story of my breaking. I grew up safe. There were times we went hungry or slept in a park, but I was safe with my family. Wherever they were was home, so home to me was safe. I knew the rest of my life would get better when I grew up and got married. I believed so much in what he could become that I overlooked every red flag my family ever told me about, like the way he fought with his best friends. Guys, you need to stop picking on each other. But he also picked on me. He would tell me that I'm stupid and ugly. I couldn't change that because that would be unnatural. I was stuck naturally being ugly. I never thought I was worthless before, but I hear your heart always believes everything that it's told. With each new fight, I became more afraid. I was afraid of him. I was afraid of what my life was becoming. My new home was fear. As time went on, I felt my personality begin to shrink. He would yell at me for hours, and all I could say is, "I'm sorry, I'll do better next time." And when I would, it wasn't enough. He would tell me to be more thankful for his patience with me. Anyone else would have put me on the street. Of course, I would try harder and harder until I couldn't anymore. I hit a wall. You can't get stronger and weaker at the same time. It's like that dream where you're running and you're reaching for a door and a monster starts chasing you. So you give everything you have to run as fast as you can, but you're not going anywhere. The door is getting further and the monster is getting closer, and the only thing you can do to save your life is to wake up. But I wasn't asleep. The pressure came in from every area of my life, and I began to feel claustrophobic in my own body. How do you wake up from real life? You can't. Finally, I asked him for a divorce, and he responded by walking quickly towards a busy road in an attempt to get hit by a car. I chased after him and I wrapped my arms around him saying, "I will stay and I will try, but if you jump, I will too." I was so frantic to save his life. Finally, he stopped and he turned to me to say, "Okay." As if nothing happened at all. That was the moment that I realized he was shrinking me on purpose. That was the moment that I broke. And I felt every emotion in my body bleed out of me. If anyone ever told you that a broken heart is the worst pain you'll ever experience, they were wrong. If you still feel pain, you're not broken yet. Breaking was my relief. Finally, I moved to Portland, where I lived numb for years. until a friend saw right through me. She said, "Tiffany, you are loved. You are worthy. You add value to the people around you. Go and be a light to the world." She said, "You're already broken. You can build yourself up any way that you choose." I could choose. I choose me. So I said those words. Every day I did, and I began to feel pain. I repeated them morning and night, and for 2 months I would cry saying them. You are loved. You are worthy. You add value to the people around you. Go and be a light to the world. Eventually, that pain turned to joy. I felt myself healing. After all, I hear your heart always believes everything that it's told. People would watch me heal and ask me how to do the same thing. And as I guided them through it, their lives actually changed. My life changed. I was not safe, but I was not afraid. No, I was strong. And because of where I've been, I was capable of reaching down to rock bottom and pulling someone out because I knew the way. This new strength I found already inside of me showed me a future I could not live without. Oh, I said those words again and again as if I were asking them to be true. And today they are. Today I am loved. Today I am worthy. Today I do add value to the people around me, and today I am a light to the world. The thing is, that is true for every single one of you. Fellow Toastmasters, if you take nothing more from this speech, take this one thing. You are loved. You are worthy. You add value to the people around you. And if you help just one person, you will have shared your light with the world. I was reminded of that phrase not long ago. We're all broken. That's how the light gets in. And I responded with a deep, profound understanding of exactly why that phrase bothered me so much before. Yes, we are all broken. But that's how the light gets out. Thank you.
What would you choose? Live by default or live by design? I was living my life by default, and it took awareness, commitment, and dedication for me to live my life by design. And I will be sharing that journey. Back in the Philippines, in my early teenage years, I was highly influenced by this new era of social media. The embarrassing truth about it was I was starting a habit of keeping up with the Joneses. It gave me spurts of joy, and it was very exciting. Everything was just fine until one day, Brian, a high school friend and who was like a true big brother to my friends and I, told us an unexpected and heart-shattering reality he was about to face. He wasn't going to college. And in fact, life was so hard for him and his family that there were days they didn't even have food on the table. College was not an option for his 5 older siblings, and it wasn't for him either. Hearing all of these the first time in our years of friendship triggered a plethora of emotions gushing through my veins. And as tears poured from my eyes, I could only think of these 2 things. First, Brian has so much potential. I believe in him, and I know he can change the course of his life and his family's life if he goes to college. And second, what have I done? I've been spending on useless things only to find out that on the other hand, my friend was struggling to get by. I knew I made very poor choices, but I can't go back in time to change them, nor do I have time to dwell on them. I had to do something moving forward, and the first step was a promise. I promised Brian I was going to help him no matter what, and I do not break promises. I got my parents involved, and they were all in with helping Brian. But when 2008 rolled around, the year that Brian and I was starting college, everything changed. US recession put my dad's job in grave danger. And unexpectedly, my scholarship in the Philippines was affected and declared for bankruptcy. Suddenly, I had no college money, possibly not enough money for the family, and I knew my parents were going to say no to helping Brian before they even told me so. But I promised, and I do not break promises. So despite my parents saying no, I went rogue and was on a secret Mission Impossible mode. It was painstakingly challenging, but we were on a roll. We qualified for scholarship money, we did a lot of saving, budgeting, sharing, we even sold school supplies in school. And the most exciting part of them all was all of the competitions I had to join for the money. I joined essay writings, quiz bees, dance competitions, and even beauty pageants. And I won them all, except for the beauty pageants. A year and a half before graduation, my mom had a stroke. She was paralyzed on her left side. Her blood pressure wasn't going down, and I was terrified I was going to lose her forever. My dad was here in the US and couldn't come home because recession was still going on. My sister was in her early teens and was definitely not with the right crowd. I lost my scholarship and I was failing my class big time. And it didn't help to have a very dramatic boyfriend. It was so emotionally draining. I was so tired. I was ready to give up. And I wasn't even sure if I was doing the right thing. Then I realized we've come so far and we're this close to graduating. And I promised, and I do not break promises. So I took everything in one at a time and went through my list. Dump the boyfriend, take care of my mom, keep the family together, and study harder. I lost track of time until graduation day came. Brian and I graduated at the same time, and it was the best day of my life. From that day to this day, Brian continues to flourish in his career. Together with him and two of our other high school friends, we've started Bliss Scholarship in the Philippines, which has now helped 24 students graduate college. I want this story to serve as a reminder that every one of us have all the power in the world to create the life that we love. The question is, what would you choose? Live by default or live by design?
Not doing my math homework. My math teacher's stupid, yelled my 12-year-old son as he threw his math book across the table. Well, needless to say, that was not the response I was expecting when I asked him to get his homework done. Normally, he loved math. It was something he really enjoyed and was really good at. So I asked him what was going on. I come to find out he had recently gotten a new math teacher at school. And the problem was she required him to show his work on his math problems or she'd mark them wrong. As I mentioned, he's really good at math, and so he'd just do the problems in his head and write down the answer. And now that he had to do all this extra work and write down each step, it was just really frustrating for him. It resulted in the outburst and thrown math book. Well, we got him calmed down, got the homework done, but it left me with a thought. Initially, I fully agreed with him. I remember back in my school days when I had to do math problems, and again, it was easy to just do it in my head and write it down. Why waste all this extra time in writing down all these steps and showing my work? Same thing when I was learning how to do computer programming, both in high school and in college. The professors wanted me to add in comments and explain what I was doing. I'm like, well, just read the code. It's right there. Why waste this time is what I had thought. So I thought a little more about this, and I realized there's actually a lot of good reasons to show your work. And as I reflected, I came up with 3 key reasons. First, when you show your work, you learn things at a very deep level. So going through each and every step of the process and recording that or writing that down, it helps you really learn that whatever it is you're doing, whether it's something in school, whether it's something at work. As they say, when you really know something, you can understand it in such a simple way that a young child can understand. And if you can't explain what you do or the concept or the subject in that simple of a way, you don't truly understand it well enough. So by showing your work and going step by step, it helps you get to that deep level of understanding. So second, it helps you remember things. So many times I'll be working on a big project, whether it's forecasting out budgets for the entire year for our entire group at work, or doing some analysis on hundreds of companies and applications for a work project. And as you go through that, do all this work and then put it away for a weekend, come back the next week and start looking at it, and I'm lost, right? I forget where I am, and I almost have to redo some of the work. So by showing your work and documenting those things out, it helps me remember exactly where I am. I can pick up where I've been and just keep going. It also helps me remember what I really want to focus on. So something as simple as a little habit tracker where I track the key things that I want to be doing. It helps me remember what I want to do, what I want to achieve, what I want to accomplish. And by showing my work, filling out those little squares each day, it helps me remember what I want to achieve. By doing that over the last month or so we've been here in quarantine, I've actually been able to lose like 15 to 20 pounds, which is great because you can't go out and get a lot of exercise. And then the third thing, which maybe is the most important of all, is it helps you get credit for what you've done. So in my son's case, he gets the math problem marked right. Pretty simple. But in our case, there are a lot of times where we do things and we don't get credit for it. It's not recognized. Like with my team at work, manage a team of account managers. And so we have a system or a tool where they track the things that they do. So we use a customer relationship management tool called Salesforce. And so I'm constantly telling them, hey, if it's not in Salesforce, it didn't happen. So to get credit for the work they do, they have to record it. That's how we track their progress to goals. That's how they get their bonuses given. So they're getting credit by recording their work, showing their work. They get credit for that, and they're able to achieve a bonus. A few months back, I was talking with a coworker of mine, and we were talking about one of her direct reports, a colleague that I had worked with over the previous year. She was asking for some feedback. One of the key things that we talked about that was an area for improvement was to explain the work that his team was doing. Would have weekly update meetings, and week after week after week would ask him, hey, what's going on with your team? And it was always same answer. Nothing this week, no update. Well, as we were having this discussion, the budgets and plans were being made for the next year. And unfortunately, this team was cut. And so there was a 5-person team that now was gone. And we talked about, and one of the things she said at the end really kind of stuck with me. She said, I wonder if he just would have updated us on what his team was doing, would still be here. And that's a powerful impact that showing our work can really have. It's also the way as we go to get promotions or new jobs, we write down what we've done on a resume, right? We show our work. So it's a great way to get credit for the work we've done. So fellow Toastmasters, I invite you at this time to show your work so that you learn, remember, and get credit for what you've done. Thank you, Toastmaster.